Hey everybody, my name's Dr. Scott Giacomucci, and I'm the author of Trauma-Informed Principles in Group Therapy, Psychodrama, and Organizations, Action Methods for Leadership. And today I want to talk to you a bit about Chapter 5 in this book, which is titled Safety in Group Therapy, Psychodrama, and Leadership. So Chapter 5 is devoted to the first of SAMHSA's 6 trauma-informed principles, which is safety. So, of course, these 6 trauma-informed principles are presented differently and separately, but in reality, they're all connected. We can't have safety without addressing the other 5 principles, and we can't address the other 5 principles without attending to safety. So, while the chapters split the principles up into 6 different principles, as they're outlined by SAMHSA, it's important to keep in mind that these 6 principles really go hand in hand with each other. And if you wanted to learn more about the other principles, I'd encourage you to check out some of the other videos on this channel. So, it makes a lot of sense that SAMHSA would prioritize safety as the very first of the 6 trauma-informed principles. Of course, trauma in many ways is an experience that disrupts or threatens our sense of safety. It's almost like the opposite of safety. Trauma is the opposite of safety. So when we're working with trauma survivors, especially when we're doing any kind of trauma therapy, we really have to prioritize safety in our work. And there's lots of different types of safety, right? Many people, because of their upbringing and the society they grow up in or their identity, may have never felt absolute safety. And so providing a sense of safety, relative safety at least, in our services, in our organizations, can be really healing just by itself. Now, there's at least 5 different layers of safety. We have physical safety. This is attending to the layout of the building, the lighting in the parking lot, other aspects of physical safety, thinking about how your furniture might be arranged in your office. Do we have clients positioned in a way where their back is to the door or where they're able to clearly get to exits? That can really help people feel safer physically. The second layer of safety has to do with emotional and psychological safety. So this is probably what we're usually thinking of when we're thinking of safety as it relates to trauma, in that we really want to help people to feel emotionally safe in their environment, in the relationships, and just psychologically reconnecting with a sense of safety within their self, within their mind, within their brain again. Third level of safety has to do with relationships and social safety. So this is about helping clients or individuals feel a sense of safety in the relationship, within a group, or within the community, within an organization. Next layer of safety has to do with culture. So helping people feel safe regardless of what their culture is. Many times this has to do with the ways that we're representing our organization, or the representation or lack of representation within our organization in terms of diversity, in terms of identity, in terms of cultural values. What are the guiding principles and core values and mission of an organization and the work culture within it? And how is that congruent or contradictory to different cultural values that somebody might be bringing with them as they're receiving services or working within an organization? Many people experience trauma because of their cultural background, because of their identity, and we need to make sure we're attending to safety in this way for the folks that we're working with. And the fifth layer of safety has to do with moral safety. So are we challenging people's morals in a way that disrupts their sense of safety? Are we contributing to moral injury that they might experience because of the trauma? Are we asking our clients, or are we asking our staff to do things that go against their morals, against their ethical principles? So these are the 5 layers of safety that we have to attend to for clients, for colleagues, for coworkers within our organization. So incorporating trauma-informed principle of safety means that we create spaces that promote safety on all these levels within the agency. And we have to really reflect on Like, how exactly are we addressing safety on each of these levels for our clients? So I challenge you to take a moment and reflect on that. Consider each of these 5 levels as it relates to the work you do with clients. Maybe consider which of these 5 types of safety do you feel most equipped to work to. Perhaps consider which of these 5 layers of safety you feel most competent in helping to cultivate and establish with clients. And which of these 5 layers of safety do you feel like perhaps you overlook at times and you might benefit from focusing more on in your work? So, anytime we're working with trauma survivors, we really have to start with safety. Again, safety itself can be really healing and really corrective for trauma survivors. This is especially true if we're working with folks that have experienced recent trauma or in the midst of crisis. Just providing a safe landing place for them, a holding environment for them, attunement, and a safe relationship can really be not just healing, but also preventative in the trauma they're recently or currently experiencing from turning into PTSD in the future. Stephen Porges and other experts in the field remind us that in many ways, safety is the treatment when we're working with trauma. SAMHSA also reminds us that we don't get to define what safety is for our clients. Safety is really a subjective experience, and that everyone's experience of safety is going to be slightly different or maybe even drastically different than other people's experience of safety. So we have to define safety through the eyes of our client. This means that we have to check in. We have to keep an open dialogue about safety. We have to ask for feedback. We have to inquire about what are the things that are important to the folks we're working with in terms of helping them feel safe and helping them feel safer. So, of course, many people have been challenging the idea of safe spaces and suggesting that for many people, based on their identity, based on marginalization they experience, or microaggressions and systemic oppression and racism, that there's no such thing as absolute safety and a safe place. And instead, it might be helpful to slightly reframe the way we're talking about safe places and instead talk about safer places. We talk about safety as a relative experience, that things can always be and feel a little bit more safer and a little bit less safe. So this can be really helpful in how we're thinking about safety. It's not just you're either safe or you're not. It's more of a spectrum, more or less safety that we can be cultivating.